Hey, Tony Gasson here, popping in for a little quick video. Talking to the guys today, but ladies, you're welcome to listen. And one of the things I was thinking about is the fatherly example, because when I look into our world today, that's the main thing that I'm seeing that us as men, a lot of times we don't think about. We don't think about the example that we are to our children, and we don't think about our children's story. We don't think about our story and the holes in our story and the faults in our story, and then process our children having the same, a similar, or a worse story. And one thing that I realize is that as men, we don't take enough pride in breaking that generational curse. We don't take enough pride in being better than our father was. And we don't take enough pride in giving our sons a story or our daughters a story, giving our children a better story as it relates to us as men. And we just going through life and we just in our comfort zone and doing what we want to do, and we're not thinking about the effects of it. And we're not processing that what we can handle and what we do at in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s, in our 60s can be shown, that those things are shown to our children who are much younger, and they can't process it at the same stage. You know, I came to the point where as I got older, I have me a drink every now and then. You know, having white wine, red wine, and one day my sons will understand that, you know, and when we at my wife family house, they drink wine and stuff like that. As soon as you walk in the door, they got a glass of wine for you. And my sons, they see that. They see that and they could smell alcohol. And my oldest, he always say to me, that is the nastiest smelling stuff in the world. I am never drinking alcohol. And I think we've all said that as when we was young, and the first time you taste alcohol and you like, ugh, how do y'all drink this? I still feel that way about beer. I just really don't understand how people drink beer. Wine don't taste good either. So a lot of times we just drinking for the mental side of it. And the same thing goes with smokers. You know, they're smoking, and it ain't necessarily that they like the way it make their throat feel or the way it make their clothes smell. It's the mental. It's what we're telling ourselves this is doing for us. The same thing when you cursing, smoking, drinking, sleeping around, introducing your child to different women, your son seeing multiple different women, your daughter seeing different women. A lot of times, or all the time as a man, we just thinking about how it makes us feel. We're thinking about what we need. And we can end up acting like a big baby instead of thinking about this child and the example that this child needs to see and being that example. So as a man, you have to take a sense of pride in being a good father. You have to take a sense of pride in being a good man, because you're not only writing your story, you're writing your child's story. If you don't have a child yet, your little brother, your little sister, your niece, your nephew, you're writing their story. So you have to operate with a level of emotional intelligence. Like my sister, she always tell me whenever they leave us, she would text me all the time, and she was like, you know, my daughters just love how cool and calm and chill you are, like how humble you are. And because they see my life and they see my lifestyle and they know the level that I live on, but they don't see me bragging and boasting and showing out and flashing money and doing the money phone and, you know, just being all extra and over the top, operating from insecurities. And they see that. They see that from their fathers. They see that from men online. They see that from men that their mother has dated. They see different types of immaturity, and then they see their uncle, and the same with my nephew. And so I think about that, and I make sure that I'm a positive example for them. And just like my sons, And so every man to the man, you got to think about your child story. And whatever you need to work on for you as a man, go get help. You could talk to a life coach. You could talk to a therapist, counselor. Like, nobody's judging you. Nobody's judging you. You don't look like less of a man because you go to therapy. That make you look like more of a man. You don't look like less of a man because you call somebody and you cry and you talk about what's hurting you, what's bothering you, what damaged you as a man. Like, that's not going to break you down. Like, that's not going to hinder you. And you know what I'm finna do? I'm finna do something. I'm finna do something because I notice most men, we won't spend money on ourselves for mental health. We won't invest in ourselves in that way. We'll buy shoes, we'll buy clothes, we'll buy cars, but we won't invest in ourselves in that way. And that's what you got to do. You got to be able to sit down and find the holes in your father. Look at your father and see what your father did right and see what your father did wrong. And then make sure that you do everything that he did right, that you do it right. And you do it even better. And everything that he did wrong, that you do it right. So that you can change the narrative, so that you can rewrite this for your lineage, for your children that's coming after you. Make sure that you're able to do it. Y'all forgive me, I ain't got my ring on right now because I just finished boxing. I was doing my boxing training this morning with my boxing trainer. And I ain't even showered yet. I'm in here stinking up, so I need to go and get out this chair stinking like this. So listen to me. You have to do this as a man because this is bigger than you. And I'm going to tell you, that right there, what you smoking, might feel amazing right now. That right there, when you getting drunk, might feel amazing right now. That what you watching on your phone, the establishments you going into, you frequenting, that you going in, the habits you got, all that right now feel amazing. It's masking your pain. It's curving your pain. It's a pain medicine. And it's helping you, so you think, in your mind. Now here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what's going to crush you. Because see, I done processed this, I done thought about this, and I done seen this in the work that I do. What's going to crush you as a man is when your child is of age and can tell you about yourself. When your child can come to you and tell you how they really feel about you, and tell you that the man you were almost destroyed them, to tell you that you were so horrible as a father, that your horribleness is what motivates them, that you were so inconsistent, and that you were so disrespectful to their mother, that you were so spiteful and so hateful and so childish and so immature that they hate you, and that's what pushes them to be better because they don't want to be nothing like you. Now, come on now. I'm going to tell you. Right now, that might not matter to you. Right now, you might be high enough. You might be drunk enough. You might have enough money in your pocket to where you got a don't care attitude. But the tide going to change. The tide going to change. It's going to come a day where the high that you get, the drunk that you get, the money that you get, all that going to change. And what's going to matter to you is the things that really matter. And that's love. And that's relationships. And when you don't have that with your son or your daughters, with your sons or your daughters, because of the man that you were, the man that you choosing to be, you're going to rather be dead. And I'm telling you. But you ain't, but you ain't going to be, it's going to be a feeling to where you'll rather be dead, but you can't die. So you living a slow death. It's like you in a torture chamber mentally because of the man that you chose to be instead of being the man that you could have been, that you should have been for your sons and your daughters. And that's what you got to realize. This bigger than you. You laid down with a woman for pleasure because that was another drug. Getting between women's legs is another drug that we use as men. But see, with that drug come physical and literal consequences. See, when you snorting powder, when you smoking weed, when you getting drunk, that don't bring a physical breathing being into the world. That just fade your mind out and it block out your pain and your worries, and it just help you cope with your failures in life, with your pain in life. It help you cope. It help you get through your day. But it doesn't produce a living, breathing organism that has a brain and can grow and can think and can talk. But see, that other drug that's between them thighs, that one right there produces something. And what it produces is a reflection of you. And it's going to grow up. He or she is going to grow up and be able to look you in your eyes and tell you how they feel. And I guarantee you, I was sitting in the fruits of my labor, my 72 Chevelle, and I'm sitting there and I'm on the phone with one of the principals at my son's school. And I'm talking to him because my son was late to first period 4 times. But 3 of them was because he was late to school because of traffic and driving of his mother, in traffic. And so I called the principal and say, this not fair that y'all give kids detention for being late 4 times in 9 weeks when they late to first period. When this traffic is crazy. I say if they late the second period, that's on them. That makes sense. But you can't blame a minor for their parents' issue. So this is what I'm telling the principal in defense of my son. He said, you know what? I never thought about that. And that make 100% sense. That make all the sense in the world. I said, I don't ever want my son doing time for me and my wife crying. If we got him late to school, he shouldn't have to. And this 4 times out of 45 days or whatever this is. What's 5 times 9? 45. So I'm like, it's reasonable in this traffic to be late 2 out of the 5 days in a week right now. And so I'm defending my son, what a father should do when you got a valid point. I say, now, if my son late on his own, he get dropped off on time, and he late the first period because he horsing around, he need all the detention in the world. And as I'm talking to him, he said, you know what, you know what, you right, I ain't think about that. So he was like, I didn't make him serve that detention. He said, I didn't make him serve that detention because I got your email. I had emailed him and told him, let's get on this here phone. And I never do that. I only had to do that. My son going to the 9th grade, only had to do that 2 or 3 times. Send an email. I think I done sent 3 emails the whole time. He don't get in trouble. And so I'm talking to the man, and the man said, he said, Tony, he might have said Mr. Gasson. He said, Mr. Gasson, we were just interviewing your son for this for the leadership council. And one of the questions we asked him was, who is a leader in your life that you know, that you look up to? I'm expecting to hear his mama because they real close. And he said, he said you. He said that you're the leader that he looks up to. When I tell you I cried like a baby, when I tell you when the man was getting to it, before he even said me, I was crying. Lips quivering. Tears just went to screaming. I'm trying to talk. After that, I'm trying to talk. Well, that's that. I thank you for sharing that. I really thank you for sharing. I'm trying to keep my voice straight. He probably could hear I was crying. And he said, and that makes me emotional. He said, I don't know if it makes you emotional. He said, it kind of, sounds like you might be emotional too. Sir, don't be trying to figure out if I'm crying over there. And I see this a white male, and so they always be wanting to see a black male because they know the strength that we come from. They be wanting to see if we vulnerable too. And so I'm boohoo crying. I know the feeling. I remember my son told me a year or two ago, this boy ain't even got no girlfriend. He can't even date. And he said, son, he said, Dad, I'm naming my son Tony Jackson the fourth, right? Because he Tony Jackson the third. He said, I'm naming my son Tony Jackson the fourth, right? I about cried again. Because that's an honor. Most sons, they get their daddy name. A lot of sons get their daddy name. They ready to change their name. And I thought about that when my dad was raising me. I'm like, I'm finna have a third. Because I love my daddy, man. I love that my daddy is in the house with me every day. He here with me. I look at my mama, and my mama get on my nerves. This is what I'm saying as a young man. I'm like, I would not be able to do this. What my daddy in here doing? I can't do it. I'm not finna have no woman yelling at me and talking to me like this. When I tell you my mama a handful. You hear me? She from the bottom. You see what I mean? 12 kids, living in a 2-bedroom house. And all her brothers and sisters got something going on. That's dysfunctional. Just because of how they come up. What they come up around. When I tell you dysfunctional. Wow, that's my mama's side of the family. And she the best of the bunch. But she still was a handful. And as a young man, I could see like, I can't, So if my daddy would have left when I was 12, 13, 15, I wouldn't have been mad at him because I could see their relationship. And I tell my mama this. I ain't saying nothing I ain't tell my mama because she knows she was a handful. She knows she a handful. But just chose to be that way, and couldn't help herself, I guess. And so when my daddy left, I wasn't mad at him. What I was mad about is that it could have been a cleaner break. You ain't got to drag it out. You ain't got to be, take just clean break. We get it. We grown. I was probably 20, 21. Something like that. 19, 20. My sister was 18. You know what I mean? So he stayed in the house and put up with all of the arguing or drama or whatever, disrespect. And it was both ways. I'm pretty sure it was both ways. But he kept emotional intelligence. He became emotional intelligent when I was about 6 years old. And he kept that for the next 12 years that I was in the house. He was emotionally intelligent. He was respectful. He was responsible. He never lashed out. Like he'll whoop me. I got my last whooping at 17. And he with a belt or a paddle or something for coming in the house late. And so he disciplined me. He was that type of guy. And I feared him and I respect him. I fear him and I respect him still to this day. And it taught me a lot. But what that did for me is I said, because of his example, if I go and make the bad choice of sleeping with a prostitute, if I sleep with a prostitute and get her pregnant, I'm going to marry that prostitute because I'm going to raise my child in the house. That is in me because of my father. So what I'm telling you as a man is be the difference for your child. Don't be what your daddy was. Don't be a absent, disrespectful dog of a man because your daddy was that. Be better than him. And don't just think about what happened to you and what your daddy did to you. Think about what needs to happen for your children. Think about their legacy. Think about your legacy in the mind of your children, and think about your children's legacy and make their story better so that when they carry your name, when you dead and gone and they carry your name, they can say, my daddy was amazing. No matter what happened with him and my mama, he respected her at all times in front of me. He never yelled at her. He never cursed her. He treated her like a lady. And I saw my mama, like, look at the story that I got. That's the story that I want to give my sons. I want them to be able to see they mama flaws and see how I handle it. Anything that she do wrong, anything that she is, that's gonna be her. But I want them, when my name come out their mouth, they could say, well, my mom was like this, but my daddy was like this. Or my mom would do this, my daddy would do this. I got to think about my legacy. And she think about her legacy. She grown. I can't raise her. As a man, you can't control this woman. You can't tell a woman what to do. She gonna be her. Guess what? Let her be her. However nasty she is, however dogged she is, however nice she is, however cool she is, let her be her. And your children gonna have their narrative about their mama. But make sure, as a man, that you don't become a bad man, a negative man, a dog of a man because of your daddy, because of your mama, because of your environment, or because of the woman that you slept with to bring them children into the world. And I read a quote one time, and it said the best thing a father could do for a child is love their mother. And I remember a famous DJ, celebrity DJ, DM me. He said, I disagree with that. He said, I hate my daughter's mama. He said, I love my daughter, but I hate her mama. And I say, well, if you hate her mom, what is that going to teach your daughter about relationships? And what does that teach your daughter about her mom? And what does that teach your daughter about you? So I know it's hard to hear, but you slept with that woman. And I ain't say all this, I'm talking from that situation, because a lot of men say, this the woman you slept with. This the woman you chose to lie down with. So whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? So regardless of who she is, regardless of who she become, if she loud, if she rambunctious, if she crazy, if she all that, that's who you slept with. So you need to have the emotional intelligence to learn how to cope and to deal with her. Because this is about your child. And if she using you for money, give her the money. It's money. Get on your grind and make more money. The money for your child. And if she not spending the money on your child, then don't just give her the money. Buy your child what your child need. And if she take the stuff you buy and she go sell it, keep all the receipts so that when your child 13, when your child 16, and your child come to you and your child getting ready to tell you about yourself, and I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead. Okay. All right. See, your child coming to talk to you to tell you how doggish you is, how sorry you is, how they don't know why you wouldn't never buy them no new shoes. Okay. I'm going to let you finish. Come on. And you pull out them boxes of receipts. And now, whoever they mama was, she got to deal with it. If she was scamming, if she was using them as a pawn, if she was stealing from them, that's on her. See, this what we fail to realize as men, and this why the world broken down, is men getting so mad with their baby mama and they taking it out on the child. That's a child. Bump they mama. Do for your child. So if you got to pay the rent, pay the rent. If you got it, and if you ain't got it, go get it legally. Pay the rent, pay the car note, pay the insurance, pay what you got to pay. And at the end of the day, that's their mama legacy. So when you come and you show these receipts at 13, at 16, at 18, and then they get to see that their mama was taking the child support and going to the club, taking the child support and buying clothes for her boyfriend and doing all this and that, that's on her. That's on her. It's because now she gonna be living the slow death. Now when they go tell her about herself, now she gonna be the one feeling like dying but can't. Now she gonna be the one that's down and upset and got the answer to God for the role that she played in their life. See, as men, you can't blame nobody else. You can't be blaming the baby mama. You can't be blaming your daddy, blaming your mama. You have to accept 100% responsibility for your life. And wherever you fall short, you got to lean on God. You got to call on God. Lord, make a way. Lord, make a way. If my wife leave me for something I did in my past or something I do in my present or in my future, I don't care what she do to me. Slice my tires, bust my window, put me on the max child support. I don't care what she do to me. I'm going to keep my name clean for my kids. I'm going to be the bigger man for my sons because that's on me. That's my legacy. That's what I got to worry about. I can't worry about the woman and what she doing and how she carry herself. And anything that she do wrong to them, I'm going to pick up the slack and I'm going to make it right. Well, listen, this where your mama coming from. This what she really meant by that. I'm not going to badmouth her. I ain't going to bash her. I ain't going to throw her under the bus, because I'm going to help them understand her shortcomings, her pain, her insecurity. Because if I'm bad-mouthing they mama, I'm still destroying my child's mental health, because my child don't have the wherewithal or the ability to fully understand their mama trauma. So when they can't understand their mama trauma, it still affects them. And if I pile it on, I don't need your mama just, forgive me for saying this, because I know it's your mama, but your mama just stupid. Your mama just, forgive me for saying this, son, daughter, but I hate your mama. Like, you worsening the mama trauma. They already got mama trauma. You see what I'm saying? Because no human gonna be perfect. And if you doing that right in that moment, you not being perfect. That's you acting out. And if she acting out, and if both of y'all immature, now guess what your child going through? Your child ready at 11 years old. I just need that. 11 years old. It's literally 9, 10, 11-year-old boys and girls out here firing up because they mama and daddy is childish. Firing up, getting drunk, everything. Yes, 9, 10, 11 years old. If any one of y'all watch this video, you started smoking or drinking before 9, put it in the comments. We ain't gonna judge it, but I just want to see if it happened. The earliest I done heard is 9 years old. And I'm trying, and I remember I probably was 7. Tried to pull up and get me a drag off my grandma's cigarette, because she used to have us light up her cigarette or go get her some cigarettes. I got me one of them cigarettes out that pack. Tried to get me a drag. I'm back to, let me see what this is. Yeah, it ain't nothing happen. I ain't get that. I wanted to see the smoke come out. Ain't nothing happen. So I said, yeah, smoking ain't for me. I don't even know what's going on. And from that day forward, I never tried to smoke nothing else in my life. I never tried. I just wanted to see what it was about. So what I started doing, buying the little candy cigarettes. You remember you used to sell the candy cigarettes, and it's a pink piece of bubble gum, and it got the white paper around it, and it got like chalk at the end, and when you blow it, the chalk come off like smoke. Look how they do it. That thing just hit me. And they sell it in the hood stores. Look how they do us. They get you ready by selling you candy cigarettes as a child, so that as soon as you able to buy cigarettes, you buying cigarettes to fund the nicotine business, which is funding the country, which not going to vapes and all that, but the country like that stuff, because if it make $100 billion, if Marlboro, Newport make 10 billion, they got to give 2 billion, $1 billion to the IRS. You see what I'm saying? So it's in their best interest to have you programmed, to have you dysfunctional, to have you dependent on nicotine, on alcohol. And that's why they legalizing marijuana. That's why they legalizing, because they like, listen, we want these dispensaries around the country pumping, because these here dope boys been making billions, and we ain't seeing none of that money. So now dispensary. Now they send back, bro. Yeah, send your Tyson. Yeah, send your Tysons in. Oh, y'all want to be high? Don't get high. What, you got a little headache? Get high. Got cancer? Get high. Got glaucoma? Get high. Here comes that money. Another stream of income. So your dysfunction is profitable, because you buying designer, or you buying alcohol, or you buying weed from the dispensary, or you buying nicotine, vapes. So you have to focus on your dysfunction and become functional in those dysfunctional areas, not just for you, but for your children. So now, this what just hit me. even as an adult, I could drink responsibly. So I'm not finna be drunk and driving. I'm not finna be drunk and out in public. I don't even get drunk. So if I have me a glass of wine, that's a responsible drinking, right? And I may be doing it telling myself I need to relax from dealing with all these people problems all day. This little relaxation. Jesus turned water into wine. This ain't no sin. You know, it's all right to drink. The Bible say don't be a wine bibbler. That means don't be a drunkard. So, you know, I could justify it in my mind if I want to. But guess what? If my son come to hug me and give me a hug, good night, and they smell that alcohol on my breath, my daddy drank. If he think alcohol disgusting and I'm drinking, then guess what? That make me disgusting. And if my wife will let me drink, but then she ain't having her no drink, that make daddy disgusting, and it make mama clean and responsible. So guess what? And my homeboy said this, who smoke? He said, man, I smoke, but I ain't never, ever, ever let my kids see me smoke. I never let them see me smoke. Never let them smell me like smoke. And I said, man, that's something else. At least you're doing that. At least you're doing that. Because that's smoking for you. And he need that smoking to stay calm, to stay level. But at least the kids don't see it. And nobody. And so now, as I'm sitting here talking, I say, you know what? If I have me a drink, and my son, if my youngest son don't really see it as nasty, and he see, oh, my daddy doing it. So what if he go to a party at 15, and he have a drink, but instead of one, he have 10? You see what I mean? That's what we have to remember, is that what we do, that our kids see, they always gonna do it to another level if they don't understand what they saw. They could end up doing it to another level, and it costs them where it didn't cost you. To where you made it out because you understood what you was doing, but they didn't understand it and they couldn't interpret it, but they just did what they saw you do. And it cost them their life, or it cost them their health. You see what I mean? This is the responsibility we got to have as fathers. And yes, I have to talk directly to somebody for my mental so I can focus on what I'm trying to say. But yes, this go for mothers too. So with all of y'all who love to pass the buck and don't never like to hear nothing for yourself and always want to hear something for somebody, well, what about the women then? What about the mall? You talk about the daddy, what about the mall? Look, this for you. Okay? The reason what helped me become the man I am today is not passing the buck. I stopped worrying about what's for my wife, and I worry about what lesson for me, what growth for me. Let me grow instead of trying to clock somebody else's growth. That's what you got to understand, and that's what's going to change your life. Hey, this is Tony, guys, and God bless you. We'll talk soon.